And then I think Daquan Hardy, is a guy that showed didn't have an interception, but it was a deep ball, went step to step, step for step. I was really
Let him
careful.
cook.
We also need to get shirts that say "not in the building." We need credit to me.
Credit to me is a great. Honestly,
Yeah.
credit to me is my favorite.
Credit to me, not in the building, right over there.
With a hand pointing.
Just Mike pointing.
Somebody else had a shirt idea that said, "There's the open." I thought that was good too.
Oh, I do like that.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. The Bills' preseason finale against the Panthers. Buffalo lost. Yeah, I said
Nice one.
Colts.
Nice one.
I don't know why I said
No,
Colts.
nobody noticed. Nobody,
No.
nobody
Good
in
thing
the
is,
comments.
nobody cared.
Yeah.
They played the Panthers today, Mike.
They lost. Panic.
They lost.
I can't believe they lost.
He's interrupted twice.
Yeah, let's get to it. What
Right.
do you? What was your takeaway?
This game was about second and third string guys, right, making the roster, but I'm not angry at any second and third string guys. Not even angry. I'm not concerned about those guys. They'll figure out this roster. It's players who are backups, players who will end up on the practice squad. I'm worried about the kicker. Guys, I know it's only a 51-yard field goal, and you can show me the numbers and say he hasn't missed in the preseason. They were all 30-some-yard kicks for the most part. He missed a 51-yarder. Sean McDermott after is like, yeah, Tyler knows he's got to make that kick. He has not been good. That's the one guy I come out of this, a guy who's a starter,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
that I'm worried about, and we've been worried about him.
That was something today going into this where not a lot of wind, beautiful weather day. Shout out Mother Nature.
Because she shot it.
I was going to say, definitely not a Dan Fates weather day. But I was like, all right, this is optimal conditions,
Yeah.
truly, because the wind was very minimal. And to have him go up at 51, I'm like, all right, let's see. We'll see what happened. And then for him to miss so far right, I was like, that to me, when we talk about what we've talked about of Tyler Bass growing his confidence, and Brandon Beane said in the post or the pregame show, we have confidence in Tyler, but what McDermott said after is like he needs to make those. That to me is like they know, of course they know, but they something has got to change.
We've been trying to tell ourselves that everything's going to be okay.
No, Jenna and I have been saying it for a while.
No,
Yeah.
I know, but we've been trying
Credit to me.
No.
We've been trying to be like, he's made all of his kicks in the preseason. Things are okay.
Yeah,
No.
I think no. I see what Dan is saying. Dan is saying like during the preseason we've been like, all right, you went 5 for 5. Let's see all this stuff, but we know how this works. Is if you can't make the long kicks, then this is something that will follow you. And it followed, and it ended the season last year when he couldn't make the kick. All those things that this is something that's concerning.
In this league, 50, you got to make 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. There's
That's
guys
what Sean said.
Yeah, you got to make them. And he, even in practice, you guys were there. You see in practice the other day, what was he, 4 out of 7? And he's got the same holder and the same snapper. Like, that ain't changing. And they have to be concerned. And I think this team's margin of error has been reduced. They
Agreed.
lost
It's
talent.
very true. Yeah.
And they're trying to get things together for this year. We know they always have close games anyhow. There's going to be close games. You can't let the kicker stand in the way of winning games.
I got a solution. Just go for it. Just every time. Just forget it. Just go for it every single time. Put the ball in Josh Allen's hand and go from there.
Every time.
Your thoughts.
Every time.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny.
Sam Martin can punt occasionally if you need it. Field
It was
position
funny
game.
on social media today because I don't know if you've ever gotten responses that are a little wacky on social media.
yeah.
It's not
A guy
accessible at all.
person wanted to tell me that Sean McDermott is ultra conservative because he kicked a field goal on 4th down in this game. First of all, it's Ben DiNucci's your quarterback. Secondly,
We'll get to him in a second.
he said, I am going to have opportunities to kick.
Yeah.
He even said a couple of weeks ago, I may use opportunities that I would normally go for it to kick the ball.
Truly.
And Tyler Bass is a starter, and he missed. So
Well, it's to evaluate. And he wanted to, instead of evaluating Ben DiNucci, he wanted to see what Tyler Bass did.
And it's something we've talked about when we were up in the press box today, Mike. Analytically, Sean's one of the most aggressive head coaches in the entire league. At
It's
going
funny how
forward
that
on fourth down.
narrative works, though.
yeah.
When you're a defensive head coach, you get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. All right, let's talk a little bit about Ben DiNucci, who started the game for the Bills. Josh Allen was not expected to play in this game. He was excused from the team for a personal reason. So Ben DiNucci getting the start. There was Anthony Brown, who played backup as well. Ben DiNucci, Dan, I want to get your thoughts.
He overthrew Tyrell Shavers. I don't care what you say. Tyrell Shavers ran a phenomenal route. Absolute double move on a slant.
Beautiful.
Broke the cornerback's ankles. He's wide open by 15 yards. And if you want to say Tyrell Shavers stopped running or let up, fine. It doesn't excuse how much you miss him by. And for everybody that says, well, he let up, he's leading him as a wide receiver.
Just let him go.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose sleep over this. And that's how I know the preseason is needs to be done, is the fact of the matter of how worked up I got over this play.
I don't want to jump you.
No, go
here,
ahead.
But we were talking before we started recording off camera, and I said two things can be true.
No, they
Ben
can't for
DiNucci
Dan. They can't.
could have overthrown him, and also
Okay.
Tyrell Shavers could have.
98% of that fault is Ben DiNucci's.
That's fine, that's
and that
fine.
it's stupid. Like, I'm not
I'm just
disagreeing,
saying it
but
can-
as a wide receiver, you can throttle down when you're that open. Do you know why he did? Because there's an end zone. What is DiNucci leading him to? The second row of the stands? I don't understand it. Trying to collect myself, because if I'm in Tyrell Shavers' shoes, he called this his Super Bowl, and you ran the route of your NFL career, and you're wide open by 15 yards, and Ben freaking DiNucci misses you that open, I'm pissed. I'm pissed for Tyrell Shavers that Ben DiNucci threw him the ball.
I can't tell.
He's
I
in the
get
press
it.
box, dragging over Matt Bove from Channel 7 in Buffalo just to argue with him.
I wanted anybody. I wanted anybody in the press box to argue this with.
And I said, yeah, I tweeted, Shaver should have kept running the route.
Yeah.
And
You wanted him to go in the tunnel? Is that what you wanted him to catch the ball?
Number one.
Hey, Jenna, it was right over there.
number one.
It was right
Now,
there.
actually, legitimately, you are pointing to the spot.
It was right over
I
there.
will tell you
Haven't
this.
done that in a minute.
He wasn't open by 15 yards. He was open by 4 yards, but that's a mile in NFL world. And secondly, DiNucci missed him. He should have.
Yeah.
It should have been easy. Shavers probably is taught to just continue to run the route and look for the ball. The ball should have been right in his hands. It's an easy touchdown, middle of the end zone.
Yeah.
You throttle down because there's an end zone. It's not like he was there.
Okay. 'Cause
It's
of
not
the
like he
si-
was there
I
and
see what
he
you're
had to
saying.
go 75 yards. You're open. You're in the end zone. He could stop.
Yes.
Throw it to him.
Because you're saying if you continue to run, then it makes it a more
Difficult catch if you go to the pylon and all of a sudden you're having to catch and keep your feet in bounds.
Yeah.
It's a 98.9% of that incompletion is on Ben DiNucci, and I will fight anybody that wants to talk about Tyrell Shavers letting up.
Okay.
I thought Tyrell Shavers though had a nice game.
So did I.
Nice game.
Yeah.
I think he made some nice catches. I think obviously he would have, if he knew what was going to happen, he would have continued running and not throttled down in the end zone. But I think overall, I love that he called it his Super Bowl because I think it
Yeah.
was a Super Bowl for him and a lot of these other guys.
He
I
called-
really like him.
I do
like
too.
him. I think he's composed. I think he realizes he's a much better player now than he was a year ago.
Yep.
When he was just sort of, his mind's kind of going. He ends up on the practice squad. I think he can be on an NFL roster. I don't know how it's going to play out on Tuesday because this team's got injuries around and not in the building. We're kind of in the building. Injuries all over the place. So it may be that they keep a little more of one position, a little less of another. But that guy is a end of the roster NFL receiver right now.
Agreed.
And with more opportunities, you're right. That move was sweet.
It was
and that's
impressive.
against the ones from Carolina, so I was happy to see it. And if he didn't slow down and run the wrong route, I think he would have had a perfect day.
I'm
trying
surprised.
to get him going
I'm
again.
surprised we didn't start this by being like, Shavers just let up. Just total mental error on Shavers. I thought
Just
because
to get Dan going.
Yeah, it doesn't take
Mike
much.
goes, it was 85%, and I was so upset that it was not higher. And I was
98. It's
Like, I
98%.
was like, it's a size thing. I was so upset about it.
That's okay. Take a deep breath.
No,
Yeah.
but this is why we need the regular season. Because I
Yes.
can't be sitting here picking fights with people in the press box to
About
argue about
Ben DiNucci.
Ben
Ben
DiNucci's
DiNucci.
pass.
And listen, I give Ben DiNucci this. He threw a terrible ball early.
Oh, my
The only
gosh.
reason we're really talking about him is we did see Mitchell Trubisky
Mm-hmm.
before the game.
Yeah, I was actually surprised.
I don't think
at-
he's ready week 1 by any chance.
He's limping
completely-
around a little bit. Maybe that's a strong word. He just doesn't look. He looks like something's hurt, right?
I
We
think
know he's
he
injured.
He is limping.
But
Yeah.
sometimes when you see, oh, he'll be, they've got to have somebody ready. I think they're on the waiver wire or making a
Yeah.
deal for somebody if he's going to be on IR to start the year. Again, we won't know this probably until Tuesday, but Ben DiNucci may still be on the roster too as your third guy because you don't know who's coming in if they have to bring somebody in.
Pre-game and post-game saw Mitch walking on and off the field. I would say, in my opinion, it looked labored. Like he had the sleeve down his leg, but it looked like I felt like it kind of looked like he was in a little bit of pain.
Not a
but-
doctor.
Not a doctor. My professional opinion, but
What was your major at Syracuse?
broadcast journalism
Oh,
I
then
thought
you're
you were
qualified.
poli-sci.
and poli-sci, but like no one cares about that.
I know. They just
They,
hand those
they
things
both
out
make
at
me.
Syracuse.
They both make me equally
Not-
qualified to
not
talk about
medicine.
medical conditions.
This
But
was
I
not-
just,
yeah,
he
okay.
looked like someone that I thought when they had Ben DiNucci and signed Anthony Brown that it was a situation of, oh, okay, Mitch seems like he's trending towards coming back sooner rather than later. But seeing him today, it kind of made me put pause on that point.
Not a doctor, but I feel like Mitch could be out the first 4 weeks, and that could be
Maybe an IR.
maybe an IR move.
Yeah.
Right, it could
Which
be.
again,
So-
then you need a number 2.
Yeah.
And you talk about vibes guys. They have a very good vibes guy. The elite vibes guy could be out there.
Yes, Kyle Allen. We'll
Yes,
see if
in
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Cuts
So-
him and what that looks
Yeah,
like.
at least there's a guy who's been in the
Here's
system.
the guy. I knew it. I knew it. Okay, let's talk Frank Gore Jr.
We joke around too much on this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh. Let's talk Frank Gore Jr. Had the touchdown today. His dad was here. Frank Gore was here. I didn't even realize it until after the game. Over 100 rushing yards, or 100 rushing
100,
yards.
yeah, 101, I think
I was
he
going to
had.
say.
Yep.
It was really cool to see him. We were talking on the sidelines. I shot the game, no big deal. But other reporters, we were saying, let's see a Frank Gore Jr. touchdown. He was running. He has some juice.
Yeah.
I was impressed, and to see him and the response from all the team, it was really cool.
He had 2 runs in the scoring drive where he eventually did get in the end zone. Bounced one outside that I thought was a really nice cut.
Yeah.
That the hole kind of closed up and he moved outside. And then so you're kind of sitting there going, there's not much to the guy. He's maybe 5'9", not a bigger
Yeah.
back. And then the next run, he knifed inside in between the tackle and the guard and then got like 2 more yards after contact where I went, that's an impressive run for not a big guy to go outside and have the speed to get outside and then the toughness to go inside. I thought it showed a lot.
Yeah.
I was very happy to see him out here performing because realizing you two are now old enough to cover a father and a son
That's
in the NFL.
nuts.
I
It's
asked,
kind of wild, though.
It
There's only a
is.
few years apart.
Well, Josh
and-
Allen too, and he's
yeah, Josh played with both.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And Frank Sr. was here walking down, honestly, wearing his 20. Just put pads on him, get him
I
out there,
know,
too.
right?
You know he'd give you a few carries.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
for
about it.
sure.
So,
That's my one
no, it
thing.
was good. He's a practice squad guy, I think.
Yep.
He's confident that I think he believes he can be somewhere in the league. He said, Bean's got to make those decisions.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. He just called him Bean.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
He does seem very confident, but
Yeah,
not
I mean,
in a cocky way,
no.
but just like I put a lot on tape. Bean has decisions to be made,
Yep.
but I think that the job that he did in the spot he was in was
Yeah, he looked
did-
good.
Yeah, exactly.
I
All right,
liked it.
Darrington Evans. What did you think of him?
Eh.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, I think it's another practice squad guy.
yes.
Got
What
a
was
little
it?
more
what was
experience.
the big
No,
side
I mean
for him?
that's like what we're talking about though.
Right.
These guys that don't always get the shine, don't always get the time on the field. I thought Darrington Evans had a pretty nice game.
Well, he had the touchdown. They finally scored. They waited until I got back from vacation to get a touchdown. I was very happy
Yeah.
about
no
that.
vacations during the season.
I know. But he took it down the sidelines and he went in the end zone. Listen, they have guys that can play. I do think maybe in the running back position, Ty Johnson running back the kick. I think he's going to run back kicks for them, at least going to start the year. Or
I like-
Daquan Hardy.
I like-
You like Hardy. Well,
I like-
that's the next guy to talk
Yeah.
about. I put it to you this way. Ty Johnson has done it before, and I think he can do it in this
Yeah.
setting.
Yeah.
And he's going to be on the roster. The question is, how does the rest of that? It would seem to be there's their running back room
Yep.
with Davis, Hardy, Johnson and certainly Cook as the starter. But yeah, Daquan.
Two guys that really, again, I think it wasn't that long ago that we thought this cornerback room was at times a liability. I think it's maybe their biggest strength between, you have Douglas and Benford, and Kair's played well as the 3, and then I think Jamarcus Ingram has played very well.
Yeah.
And he has gone from like we said, break glass in case of emergency guy to now being a guy that is coming into his own, long, physical guy. He protected a fade in that corner of the end zone. That one.
Down that way.
I thought it was textbook. We know he can tackle in space. We've seen him even at camp just be very physical with wide receivers like Keon Coleman. And then I think Daquan Hardy, is a guy that showed didn't have an interception, but it was a deep ball, went step to step, and step for step. I was really
Let him
careful.
cook. Come back. You got
There's
this.
the open.
We believe in you.
There's the open.
That's it.
And then he also had a nice tackle in the running game as well. And I think that was something Sean said. They drafted him 6th round out of Penn State for his return ability, but he's got to be able to do enough in both run support and in the passing game.
He's playing on the outside.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Also that,
who he
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And he did make that nice tackle, and he made a good play on special teams, too. So I thought he played well.
I agree. It was someone that, again, when we talked about earlier in the week, things we didn't know until the start of camp, or things we learned throughout the camp, it was the Tyrell Shavers, but it was also, in my opinion, Daquan Hardy of what he can add, because I thought it was okay, returning kicks, all that stuff, but what he's done on the field, I've been impressed by.
And especially after he made some questionable punt returns and fielding punts in the Pittsburgh game and in the first few games where Sean McDermott kind of called him out for we got to be better with decision making. He said it was exponentially better today. Steps in the right direction.
Okay.
One other guy on offense I wanted to mention. I don't know if we're going to go where else you were going to go, but Deion Kane, 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number 14 coming back stronger. I mean, it didn't happen with Chase. I mean, so they move on. 2 nice plays. This guy's been around a little bit. He's been around the league, but he is not making the regular roster. Could, again, be a practice squad guy. And I just had 2 agains in there. Practice squad guy. But it's nice to see in this setting when players, at least in their moments, step up a little bit. Because you can see things in practice. This is as close to real football as you get, with number 1s on the other side and players playing for their life football-wise until 2 weeks from now. It was good to see him. I wanted to mention him because I thought he flashed a little bit, and he's wearing that 14.
I agree.
They've had a couple guys wear 14 recently.
Yeah.
Who are they?
Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Joe Andreessen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The summer of Buffalo Joe.
Keep
Unbelievable.
Buffalo Joe.
Unbelievable night in Pittsburgh, the start and things like that. I don't want to be negative, but he came back down to earth a little bit today.
Well, I think it would be hard for him to play at that level. I think it
Fair.
was he is a younger player.
He's young.
I mean, he is young. I think that's a piece of learning the game. I think he has. You saw against Pittsburgh some of those instincts and stuff, but also being a younger guy, you're gonna have mistakes that happen. And I think today was a more of a. Did you say come back down to earth?
Yeah.
I don't.
Did I take it from you?
No, I don't.
Did
know
he
if
play with
it's-
his hairs on fire?
I don't.
He's
Damn
got
it.
great hair, though.
He does.
Yeah.
No, I just think that's it's hard to replicate what he did in Pittsburgh. I think he had some nice moments, but also there were some learning lessons in there.
Well, what happened was Mikey Hot Takes over here.
He's on the team. No, but I get why you said that after last
By the
week.
way, nobody said he's off the team either.
I agree.
Because he
I was
wasn't
just-
the only linebacker that got toasted out here defensively, and it seemed like Carolina was much more efficient passing the ball than Pittsburgh was too.
Yes,
So
yeah.
low
So
bar to clear.
they were doing that,
There
and
was a forward pass.
the first touchdown with Jordan Matthews, who
Which is unreal that he.
former Bills wide receiver who. Just Google his line about Buffalo. You'll get a kick out of it. What
good
there
one.
is to do in Buffalo. On that play, Andreessen just goes totally. I will
Deion
point it
Jones.
out. He was there and he went to there, right? He just went, and they had 2 linebackers in the same spot, and nobody picked him up. It appears from us not knowing anything because we're not in the room that Andreessen went to the wrong guy. But I don't know 100%.
Yeah.
But that was
Yeah.
probably the play where it looks like a totally wrong read and ends up with an open touchdown.
I still like his game though.
So
think
do
that's
I.
All those things, like, it's gonna happen. You got to learn from it. But I didn't know how far the drop off would be, if I'm being honest, because the level that he played at, that's really hard to do. So
No.
I was like, okay, we saw some flashes, saw some tackling, but you're right. There were moments where he did get burned.
I had a sense when he was answering our questions, when he was talking about feeling like he belongs, that he knows a little something. That, I mean, listen, I keep saying it. The Chiefs worked him out before he came here, put some stuff on tape. There's teams that are going to look for a linebacker.
Yeah.
It's just,
And they got the Bills are dealing with injuries in their room.
yeah.
And a guy like Balin Spector is a guy I think
always
he's gonna
hurt.
He's always hurt.
So
That's tough.
Andreessen's healthy. He's shown a lot, maybe not as much in this game, but I'm going to stick with it that he's on the roster Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean,
Mikey hot takes.
No, I get it, Mike. I think that would be also an incredible story. I mean, we've talked so much about what it would mean for a hometown
Yeah.
kid to be playing for his hometown team, but
And he talked about the last week and how it's been not difficult, but he's been busier. He's had more obligations in his
Yeah.
personal life, and
Yeah.
that he comes home to his parents' house, and that his dad, he says, is writing novel text messages responding to family members and friends. So
Yes.
I think you're right. It would be very hard to have another 11 tackle performance in Pittsburgh and do all that he did. It just was another moment where you were like, yeah, he's Joe
say,
Andreessen. He's not.
Yeah, I think he showed a lot of promise throughout this preseason, way more than any of us were expecting, but there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way.
I think the roster cut down in decisions starts with Joe Andreessen. What do you do at that position?
That's very
And you were right,
fair.
because of injuries, they may keep an extra linebacker anyhow. And even guys who make the 53 may not be on the 53 2 weeks later.
Is
Yeah.
that because it's what?
Fluid. The rosters, this is not the old days where you made the team and you're on it. You can make it. Also, keep in mind, there's veterans out there that if they sign week 2, the money's not guaranteed for the entire season. Like, there's all kinds of roster manipulation.
Yeah, and the salary
that
cap's
goes
not
on.
real.
We know that.
I mean, if you like, comment, subscribe to this channel. We also need to get shirts that say "not in the building." We need credit to me,
Credit to me is a great. Honestly,
Yeah.
credit to me is my favorite.
credit to me, not in the building, right over there.
With a hand pointing.
Just Mike pointing away.
Yeah, but now we are
Yeah.
right here. We're on the
I
mic.
know, but
Mike,
they
it's
still
the same thing when we're at Fisher. We're also right
yeah,
there.
But if I was pointing there, you can actually see it behind your head. You can't really see
Yeah.
it.
Somebody else had a shirt idea that said, "There's the open." I thought that was good too.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
This might be the open,
I was just say. Well, no, I really liked the one earlier.
but
with you.
when I messed up.
Yeah.
That's okay. Usually it's me, so it's fine.
Well, I usually do the editing, so I get to decide.
That's very true. All right, anyone else we want to... You had Kareem Jackson on
Hey,
there.
Kareem Jackson made
Yeah.
a nice play coming across the field. I'm not going to point to where. He came across the field.
I was like, how many times can we do this bit?
Locked and loaded.
How many times?
But I'm thinking about a guy who's been in the league for 14 years playing in the 3rd preseason game.
Wow,
At least he
yeah.
was playing against starters, but he may need to be on
Yeah.
the roster
Yeah.
to start. I mean, you did see players out there
Mm-hmm.
pregame, like Mike Edwards, in uniform,
Yeah.
running around. So I would think the way this week's going to go, those guys are going to get back to practicing. It
Mm-hmm.
felt like they were close, both Bishop and Edwards, so that would make a big difference. And we don't know about DeMar Hamlin in terms of his health from the hamstring, so
Yeah.
that'll be interesting to see where they are by because now you have 2 weeks. In past years, you're
Yeah.
sitting there, to the last couple of years it changed. You're sitting there, preseason's over, game's coming up the next week. That's not the case now.
Yeah, a little bit of flexibility,
Yep.
but obviously some big decisions ahead for Brandon Beane and the Bills, as roster cutdown day will be on Tuesday. We'll continue to update everyone as this Bills roster will look very different in about 4 days.
You ask, we answer, things like that. We got tons more content as we get closer to cut down.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, for Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always truly, deeply appreciate
The
it.
then
next
when-
time we're
Good.
here,
It's opening day.
Yeah.
football.
And when we're done, we're going over there.
better damn believe it. All right,
And
thanks
then
for
to go
watching.
get food with Joe.
Actually, I do want to get food.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that.
No.
Okay. All right, love you guys. Bye. Bye.